Kalum. Chapter 1, Tablet 12, The New Being. Lo, another being which was to be thought into being and recreated was the humans from Hu, the force of creative will. These humans were to thrive, to become supreme beings again. Also, there was the behemoth, the animal man called human. Human beings descended from supreme to being, to supreme being, to human beings, to human, to man, to mammal, to animal, to beast. The kingdom of the skies was called Malakut, and the blue planet was called Ardut. And the great kingdom of Tamaray, Egypt, was originally called Kemet, after the constellation Kima and Pleiades, one of the original homes inhabited by the Anunnaki, who are called Thru by the Egyptians, when they could no longer live on risk. The Anunnaki named it Nibiruki, the earth place of Nibiru, and Nippur in Akkadian. It was ruled by Enlil before the procreation of Cadman and Akaba, and on the other side was the evil ones in the land called Anrazak. They had a leader whose name as the Anunnaki is Gikun, legion of them, or Halah. He is the father of the disagreeable Anunnaki species. He is the head of the 200 fallen Nephilites, or Yahweh, called Luciferians. Nephi is called Lucifer, or Satan. There was Asbil. He was the teacher of the 200 fallen angels when on Ardut. How to be human is what he taught them. And there was Gadriel, the killer. He taught them that death was agreeable. To kill it is best. But this is what the elders taught of death. And Finimu, the teacher of deeds, he taught how to trick human beings into sin, and how to disobey Hua and his wisdom. And Kasdia, the teacher of sorcery. These were the beings from a planet in Procyon called Nirvana, who came to Ardut, the blue planet, in the form of giants called Anakims. And their ruler and deity was a Hindu. They lived as the Imams and dwelt in Ardut. We, the Anunnaki, came to Eridu from Malakut in Mu, which are chariots of light by way of Nibiru, which has 18 shams or ships, having 50 passengers on each ship. The crystal city or mothership is made of amber and crystal, and 900 Anunnaki in all. Tablet 13, The Fashioning of Adam Cadman. Lo, O those beings who were fashioned by the command of the Most High Anu, seek knowledge, even unto the grave. If you but know what is good for you, I speak to you, you must take this knowledge with a full understanding. Listen to me, O beings of the Adamah. Anu Eliun El, most glorified and exalted, sent the Anunnaki from the four corners of the planet Earth to fetch soil for the flesh of your father, who is called Adam, for he was an earthling, and Sakar, one who remembers, for he is to remember. Yet his name is Cadman, to be fashioned at the Four River. These wise Anunnaki scientists were Gabriel Zadok, Murdoch Zadok, Israel Zadok, Anu Eliun El, most glorified and exalted, then ordered the Elohim to bathe the soul of Cadman. You would know the secret of death, but how shall you find it unless you seek it in the heart of life? The owl whose night-bound eyes are blind until the day cannot unveil the mystery of light. If you would indeed behold the spirit of death, open your heart wide unto the body of life. For the life and death are one, even as the river and Yam and the sea are one. In the depth of your hopes and desires lies your solid knowledge of the beyond. And like seeds dreaming beneath the snow, your heart dreams of spring. Trust the dreams, for in them is the gate to eternity. Your fear of death is but the trembling of the shepherd when he stands before the king, whose hand is about to be laid upon him in honor. Is the shepherd not joyful beneath his trembling, that he should wear the mark of the king? Yet is he not more mindful of his trembling? For what is it to die, but to stand naked in the wind and to melt into the sun? And what is it to cease breathing, but to free the breath from its restless tides, that it may rise and expand and seek anew unencumbered? Only when you drink from the river of silence shall you indeed sing. And when you have reached the mountaintop, then you shall begin to climb. When Tiamat, the planet Earth, shall claim your limbs, then shall you truly dance, which he created 100 years before his body, in the sea of glory, which proceeded from himself, called Kathor. He commanded it to illuminate his yet lifeless form. The soul hesitated, for it was unwilling to enter into the flesh. But Anu, Eliun El, most glorified and exalted, commanded, you must animate Cadman, even against your will. And as the punishment of your disobedience, you shall one day be separated from him also against your will. This is speaking of human beings dying. And because his soul refused to come into the small shell to be imprisoned here, Anu, Eliun El, most glorified and exalted, commanded him and said, now this same soul will wish one day not to leave him when the Anunnaki of death comes. The Anunnaki of death stood by the witnessing all of these things with tears in his eyes. Anu, Eliun El, most glorified and exalted, told Israel, son of Anu and Id, also spelled Id, depart, for I have made you Anunnaki of death. I have placed the taking of the soul of Cadman and his seed, the Adamites, into your power. At these words, Israel began to weep, saying, amongst you, children of Cadman, there will be news bearers who will undoubtedly hate me on this account. Anu, who is most high, Eliun El, rejoined, I shall send so many complaints and diseases upon human beings that they shall not hate you, and their deeds, they shall not be a cause of grief to you. This means that human beings will be so preoccupied in the pleasures of this world that they shall not even notice death. It is said that the Anunnaki of death has a seat in the skies. Anu, Eliun El, most glorified and exalted, created it from light. One of his 2 feet is on the bridge of hell, and the other is on the seat in the enclosed garden. It is said of his magnitude that were the waters of the sea and rivers poured on his head, not a drop would fall on the planet Earth. It is said that if Anu, Eliun El, most glorified and exalted, put all the world near the Anunnaki of death, it will be like a table placed before a human being so that he might eat when he likes of it. So the Anunnaki, Elohim of death, turned the world of creatures about as a human being turns a coin. As for the knowledge of the end of turns, when the transcript of death and illness for the slave come to the Elohim of death, he says, my creator, when shall I take the ruh, the soul of the slave? In what form shall I lift it? El, may be exalted, says, O Elohim of death, this is the knowledge of the unseen. None have knowledge of it except me. But I shall inform you of the arrival of his time, and make signs for you that you will overstand. The Anunnaki, who is in charge of their breath and deeds, will come to you and say, the breath of so-and-so is finished. The one who is in charge of his provisions and deeds will say, his provisions are finished, and his deeds are well. If he is among the happy, his scroll carried by the Anunnaki Elohim of death will have on it his name with a line of gold around it, a gold light around it. If he is amongst the wretched, you will see around it a red line. The knowledge of that is not complete for the Anunnaki, Elohim of death, until a leaf falls on him from the tree which is below the throne. And the name of the one about to die is written on the leaf. Then the Anunnaki of death takes his nafs, spirit. Murdoch will descend with a scroll to the Anunnaki Elohim of death from Anu Elion El, most glorified and exalted. And on it is written the name of the one whose nafs, spirit, he has commanded to be taken. The place in which the nafs is to be taken, and the cause of it being taken. 2 drops will fall from under the throne on the name of its owner. One is pink and the other green. If a pink drop falls on the name, he knows that he is wretched and malevolent. If a green drop falls on the name, he knows that he is happy and benevolent. And this is what he taught of benevolence and malevolence. Of the benevolent, that is the agreeable good ones. In you I can speak, but not of malevolence, disagreeable, the evil ones. For what is evil but good, turned by its own hunger and thirst? Verily, when good is hungry, it seeks food, even in dark caves. When it thirsts, it drinks, even of dead waters. You are benevolent when you are one with yourself. Yet, when you are not one with yourself, you are not malevolent, for a divided house is not a den of thieves. It is only a divided house. And a ship without rudders may wander aimlessly amongst perilous isles, yet sink not to the bottom. You are benevolent when you strive to give to yourself, yet you are not malevolent when you seek gain for yourself. For when you strive for gain, you are but a root that clings to the planet Earth and sucks at her. The fruit cannot say to the root, be like me, ripe and full, ever giving of your abundance. For to the fruit giving is a need, as receiving is a need to the root. You are benevolent when you are fully awake in your speech, yet you are not malevolent when you sleep while your tongue staggers without purpose. And even stumbling speech may strengthen a weak tongue. You are good when you walk to your goal firmly and with bold steps. You are good when you walk to your goal firmly and with bold steps. Yet you are malevolent when you go thither limping. Even those who limp go not backwards. But you are strong and swift. See that you do not limp before the lame, deeming it kindness. You are benevolent in countless ways, and you are to malevolent when you are not benevolent. You are only loitering and sluggard, pity, that the stages cannot teach swiftness to the turtle. In your longing for your giant self lies your goodness, and that longing is in all of you. But in some of you, that longing is a torrent, rushing with might in the sea, carrying the secrets of the hillsides and the songs of the forest. And in others, it is a flat stream that loosens itself in angles and bends and lingers before it reaches the shore. But let not him who longs much say to him longs little, wherefore are you slow at halting for the true benevolent? Ask not the naked, where is your garment? Tablet 14. In our image and after our likeness. Lo, and we had mercy upon your kind. So we, the Anunnaki, said amongst ourselves, now, let's breed by cloning people that are Homo sapiens of this Adam of planet Earth, the Adamites, looking just like ourselves, the Anunnaki, having 9 ether hair and coating their genes in melanin, that they may act like ourselves with right knowledge. We will give them rulership over the fish of the sea, all reptilians and birds of the skies, and all gargoyles, and over all the non-speaking mammals, beasts of the field, and all the creeping things that creep upon the planet Earth, and the Elohim Anunnaki, made to evolve all the domestic living animals that appeared on the planet Earth to breed from themselves, and all the creeping things upon the planet Earth bred from themselves. And the Anunnaki saw that these things were agreeable. The Anunnaki, Elohim Kakael, also known as Rudwan, and Uriel, son of Azarael and Rufkael, then said, here, you have been given every herb with a yielding seed, which is on the surface of the whole planet Earth, and every tree which yields fruit and has its own seed to reproduce. All of this is for your food. The Anunnaki Nudimud, who is also called Enki, one appointed by El Elo for the breeding from the Anunnaki Ninti, daughter of Anu, procreate people, Homo sapiens first, called Nubians, then became Nubians of the Adamites, from the Homo erectus, which had 6 ether hair, and the original Anunnaki with 9 ether hair, to look like herself, using her own divine seed, Ninti, giving Nubians 9 ether and acting like herself. The Anunnaki procreated them into one they called Adam, Cadman, who had 8 ether, and Akeba, Hawa, who had 9 ether. This is how she, Ninti, procreated them of her own seed. And the Anunnaki blessed them. The Anunnaki said to them, so that they would not have to be moved to Rafali, to Manadapa, now called Zimbabwe, to work as slaves in the gold mines until they die. Breed children and multiply, and refill the planet Earth, and keep it under control, and rule over the fish of the seas and the birds of the skies, and over all that live and swim on the planet Earth, every living animal of the planet Earth, and to every bird of the skies, and to everything that swims on the planet Earth in which there is a living soul. Every green vegetation is for food. This supreme being is being appointed vegetarian. He is not to eat of the blood of its creatures, but to maintain its olive hue by the chlorophyll of the herbs that are most abundant on the earth and beneath the earth. Being born copper red, to purify into olive green as you green ones. And this happened. The Anunnaki saw all of these things were fashioned, and here it was all very agreeable for them. It was dusk period, and the new 6th day of 7,000 years was over. So the skies and the planet Earth was prepared, and all the living beings of both of them. The 7th day, the Anunnaki Enki, who is also called Nudimud, finished his duties which he had done, and he desisted. He kept the Shabbath, and he desisted in the 7th day from all his duties which he had done. The Anunnaki Enki blessed the 7th day, and he declared it Kadush, holy, because in it he desisted from all of his duties which the Anunnaki had done. These Anunnaki are the genealogy of the skies from the planet Risk in the galaxy Ilium, a planet of another galaxy, and the planet Earth, also called Ki, when they were reconstructing and procreating in the day that the Anunnaki made the planet Earth and made its skies reappear. They planted every shrub in the parts of the outer field, outside the enclosed garden before they had actually grown, and every herb before it had sprouted seeds, because Yahuwah, who is the head of the Yahwehans of the Elohim, the Anunnaki, had not made it rain upon the planet Earth. And Adam, Homo sapien, was not there yet to be slaves and work as miners of the ground. So a mist of water clouds ascended up from the planet Earth in order to irrigate as rain the whole surface of the ground where the seeds had been planted. And Yahuwah of the Elohim shaped Adam from Ninti's clot of granulated blood from the people of the ground. They gave Cadman the breath of divine life, and Adam was born a spirit. And Yahuwah of the Elohim ordered Arazul to build the foundation of the garden, and Ashnan, Thukiat, who came from the school of the peacock under Murdoch, for the planting of a special enclosed garden of delight and pleasure. Over there he placed Adam, whom was cloned. From the same ground did the Yahuwah of the Elohim grow every tree and flower that was beautiful to the sight, and the vegetation that was told good for food. A special tree of hallucinating herbs was in the center of the enclosed garden, under which is agreeable in the sight of Yahuwah. That which is disagreeable in the sight of Yahuwah, given one of his own willpower. And the Anunnaki said amongst themselves, "Indeed, we have made them in the constellations, and we have beautified them for the eye of the beholders. We have guarded it from all of the accursed reptilian serpents, the Luciferians, and the Natas, people who are from the deep. Those jinn who disobey the law of El Elo for human beings, he was of the Kafirun, yet he has stolen from it, and we curse Zuin as a visible flame, and thrown upon firm mountains, we cause to grow in it everything well measured, and we have made for you therein means of substance, and for every other creature whom you are not the sustainer. There is nothing except what is with us Anunnaki, which are its treasures. And we do not send the winds fertilizing. Then we send down water from the sky, so we gave it unto you to drink of it. And it is not you that it is its stores. Verily, only we and none else cause life and cause death. We are the only heirs, and indeed we know those eager to be foremost among you. We know those who like to lag behind. Verily, El Elo, your Rab, who is the sustainer, he will gather them together. Verily, he is El Hakum, or the wise one, El Alum, or the one who knows. And indeed, we Anunnaki created Enosites of black mud, fashioned and shaped. The jinns we created long before Adam, of fire, of Samun, or summer, from which the name Sam-El, son of Shakar, comes from. To the other Anunnaki rulers, verily, I am going to create human tissue of the essence of black mud, fashioned into shape of the very dust of the Adamah, ground. They, Natas, wanted the remains of this black mud, which was kept safe in a small 4x4 black box, which is now the Kaaba of Arabia. It is the Anunnaki who he assigned you a period of time to live on earth, created all of you from clay, then only by you still harbor suspicion, and its termination is known. So when I have completed him and breathed into him of my own soul, Then you all are to fall down and prostrate before him. O Enocyte, worship your sustainer, who created you, and those beings before you. Happily, you may guard yourself against disagreeableness, who made the earth a resting place for you, thereby produce fruits for your sustenance. The sky was a firm structure, and the Elohim caused the water to descend from heaven. Set you not, therefore, equals for him, while you already know, who created you looking like herself Ninti, and acting like herself. Ninti, a female Anunnaki and controller of the Shimti laboratory. Put on your shield of protection against the deceivers. Many have gone into the world, and yet still many are not yet born. Ninti is the mother of your procreation. Before Zeus, women were recognized as the mother deities. We have males born of females, yet we will restrict them. All of the great prophets came through the canal of a female. Only in the reptile family do you find male transforming to female, and female transforming to male by nature's call. Associate not with the man that respects not the woman, for even that man was conceived by the woman. The mother, simply the mater or matter. She reflects the light of a properly lit sun in wisdom. She has 4 periods as the 4 phases of the moon. The moon that you see has no light of its own, but it has mass, and it does exist in the purest state, darkness before chaos. Thus, her weakness comes from the man. Darkness is pure, and the moon sits in darkness as an assistant to the earth, controlling her tides. As the moon, rightly called Luna, has an effect on the mental state of those who lean towards her, the lunatic. Let not the sensitivity or the apparent weakness of the woman alter your state of consciousness. Stay in control. If the moon ceases to pull upon the tides of the planet, it will overheat as the evening comes and be no more. If a man ceases to respond to the whims of a woman, or over-responds to the emotional changes of a woman, he too will overheat, transform into a lunatic, and be no more. Gaia is her name. She has been worshipped, be they agreeable or disagreeable. Bun Bolama, Buto, Astis, Adita, Hina, Cha Chiu Tilusi, Uma, Alta, Mat, Naki, Siptu, Amatrirusa, Asit, Atis, Aphrodite, 8, Anatis, Andarta, Aran Ra, Arena, Kali, Artemis, Orteo, Asasi, Ya, Adui Na, Yimaya, Uazit, Ashiru, Azk, Bakatha, Athena, Atugan, Al-Dulja, mother deities, in many tongues and places.